So the story I'm gonna be telling you about today is the Little Demon from Rivera. I don't know if you guys have heard of him or know who I'm talking about, but I'm referring to the rapper, the Chicano rapper that came out in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Double cup and I'm tipping, 4-5 and I'm gripping, 38 special, rip through that vessel if you slipping. Work. Bitch, I got it off the fucking curb. Cashy like a waiter, everybody getting fucking served. Police parked up the street in the unmarked. Cashy on every block, patrolling like a fucking shark. Drop it off and I go, get it in on the road. Get it in, homie, that be rain, shine of that snow.
So, when I met Little Demon, I was being housed in the gang module at this time, somewhere around 2005, 2006. While I was right there, I was housed in one of the first 5 cells in the tier. So I was the closest and nearest to the orientation cells, which were cells 1 through 3. My cell, to be exact, was number 4. So when Little Demon pulled up in the gang module, I was the first one to salute and greet him and run him down with the whole process. As a matter of fact, I was in charge of receiving everybody, pretty much getting at everybody and getting their name, crime, what they call them, where they from, and their booking number and what they're posted for. I was in charge of all that, so send it to the homie, and the homie will clear you. And once you're clear, you were able to talk to us and move among us. So when Little Demon pulled up, I did the whole little process with him. However, after a few weeks or a couple weeks, he got cleared and he moved among us. So off the top right away, I assumed that he was cleared and his situation was dealt with, and that was he was just there and everything was good. So you fast forward a couple of maybe months, 2 to 3 months to be exact, and I'm at Yard, and I'm noticing that the homie in charge of the gang module, which was gangster from Pacoima, he was, as a matter of fact, his dad was a carnal, so he had a lot of authority and power, and he was running the gang module for Fly from Sanford. Fly from Sanford was a carnal as well. Pretty much gangster took care of any type of business that had to be taken care of course, with the permission and authority of Fly. During this particular Yard, I'm starting to observe gangster pulling over homies and talking to them. I go about my business. I'm just working out, but my antennas are up, so I'm observing them. And sooner or later, he made his way towards me and he pulled me to the side. So he's starting to tell me how he received this kite in particular, and how in the kite he's being asked to move on somebody. He doesn't give me no names, and he doesn't, get into any type of detail. But he does ask me if I want to participate and be part of a crew. It's going to cause a diversion. That's going to allow the other crew to do what they have to do and handle their business. Of course, I tell him yes. So he tells me that this mission in particular is something personal and something that is being ordered directly by a carnal, specifically Fly from Sanford, and it will be taking place on the next Yard. So you fast forward a week after, and Yard like usual, they escort us to the roof 5 at a time, and once everybody is up there, they close the door. So that's how you know that the roof time starts and you're able to do what you do. Everybody made it up to the roof, and the gangster finally pulls me to the side, and he tells me, like, look, check it out. He goes, I myself, meaning him, gangster, another homie from Lawndale, and another homie from Avenues, and another homie from Pomona, we're gonna be the actual shooters and do the stabbing. They then tell me that the target is Little Demon from Rivera, the rapper. So when he tells me, I'm like, all right, I'm listening to him, and he tells me that as soon as Little Demon hangs up the phone, they're gonna move on him. So finally, Little Demon hangs up, and Shorty was the actual one who grabbed him as soon as he hung up the phone, and pretty much chokeholding him. And While he was doing that, the rest of them start stabbing him. I'm seeing them stab him pretty good, and I'm waiting for the sheriffs to actually see the whole commotion and everything going down. And I'm prepared to take off on the first sheriff that makes it through the door. As they're stabbing him, I'm looking towards the door. I'm starting to see these dudes like stab him at least 10, 15 times, and so much so that they're getting tired. These dudes are stabbing him, and Little Demon somehow he tried to run, but he fell. And one of the individuals was actually on top of him, and they're doing the choking on him, like the overhand, and they're stabbing him in the face, neck. They're stabbing him everywhere, and they keep looking towards us, like towards the door, like as if waiting for the sheriffs to make it through the door and see them, and nothing. It's like if the sheriffs were asleep, or I don't know where they were at, but it took them about a cool 2 minutes, and finally they make it through the door, and we take off on them. Well, we take off on them, and we notice the first one that made it through, he was all ninja out. He was responding to the code, so he had a helmet, a shield, mace, block gun. Him and three other sheriffs were the first three to make it through the door. We start taking off on them, and they start throwing grenades, like to discombobulate us. So all we see is grenade, and we're having trouble breathing, but we're still doing our thing. We're still fighting. And next thing you know, like little by little, they start hitting us with batons, and we eventually all stopped and made it to the ground and give up. And I just look over, and I noticed that Little Demon's just laid out on the ground. His pants are like halfway off. They're halfway off, and the other individuals, they're throwing their knives. I glanced, and I seen that much. I seen them throwing their knives, trying to make it over the roof and over the gate. So finally, they take control of the whole situation, the sheriffs, and they zip tied us. When they zip tied us, it's a process. It was a process of about an hour, and we're all talking, and medical. The Little Demon's receiving medical attention. He's not moving, and so I'm thinking that Little Demon is dead. So finally, they put him in a gurney. They take him out, and they escorted us to the hole. While we're in the hole, we're all talking, and they ended up taking about 10 of us. The four people that actually did the stabbing, and the six of us that took off on the cops. So we're all in the hole, and we do our whole time, whatever, and we finally get kicked out the hole. We go back to the gang module, and while we're in the gang module, we receive word that Little Demon wasn't dead, that he was actually on life support, that he was fighting for his life. And fast forward another 2 weeks, another sheriff tells us that that he's all right, that he's gonna be coming back. So when he says that, we all trip out, and we all look at each other, and we're wondering, like, this dude actually made it. He all in all, he ended up coming back, he got stabbed 30 something times. And Little Demon, the day that he made it back, he came back with a kite. He came back with a kite from a canal, and when the day he came back with orders to snatch up the county and to take over everything. As a matter of fact, when he came back, he explained to us the whole situation. It ended up being that Little Demon, Fly asked him to pay taxes, and Fly was under the impression Little Demon was making a lot of money or whatnot because he was a rapper. So Fly ordered him to pay taxes. Little Demon was already paying to another canal, so he refused, and he stood his ground. Fly ordered for him to get killed. As a result of it, he ended up getting stabbed 30 something times, and he stayed solid. He came back. He took his wounds. He took them like a champ. He came back, and he had the orders to take over the county. And Flag ended up getting in trouble for calling that hit. And the canal that Little Demon was paying taxes to, had his back and helped them clear up the situation. And because of that call, his status ended up being on hold for a while. And while he was in the county jail, as a matter of fact, he stopped receiving money. A few people ended up going to trial for this and got life behind it.